without a jet.
Yeah, football's behind us now. We got the draft coming up, but it's time to talk some baseball and basketball. That time of the year. You got some news around the league here. Trevor Bauer, roughly a week and a half ago, signed with the Dodgers. The rich got richer. Got himself a 3-year, $102 million deal. Their starting rotation right now, potentially, is going to be Kershaw, Bauer, Price, May, and Bueller. It's just ridiculous. And that's not even counting the other guy they have.
I heard about Clayton Kershaw. I saw it on Twitter. He's unsure if he's going to stay with the Dodgers. That's what I saw.
He's still under contract.
I'm not sure that was like an hour. Or...
Isn't he under contract till 22?
Yeah, he's still under contract. Are you talking about after next year?
Yes, after next year. He said he doesn't know. I mean, I guess no one really knows once your contract's up, but
I could see him playing down in Texas. He's from Texas. Not the Astros, though. No, everyone wants to go to the Rangers right now. Yeah,
the Rangers.
That's right.
Baseball
moves, man.
Baseball is slowly turning into what we hate about the NBA, especially with the Dodgers. It's just kind of like I can't. Even if I was from LA and I was a longtime Dodgers fan, and I'm seeing just with these past moves that they've brought in and year out, and just how stacked these teams are. And it's more of a jealousy thing for me being a Pittsburgh fan because we don't have that money and we don't see moves like this at all. It's just been rebuild. And you have teams like LA, New York, all these teams who can just go in and bring in all these heavy hitters. And then to me, it's just not amusing to watch and Clayton Kershaw has been there a long time. So I think he should do whatever he feels like he needs to do. But, there was a moment where they had, their rotation was even better than what it is now. I mean, it's unreal. And that's just why it's really hard to watch the NBA sometimes too, because you see all these power teams in each conference instead of, back in the day where you had a lot of good teams and you didn't know how the game was going to shake out.
Yeah.
Because there was good players on every team, not stacked superstars on one team.
But I think all MLB teams can afford these contracts. It's just, do they want to do it? Like you look at, obviously some teams have more money than others, like the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Astros, like the big market teams, they have more money than other teams. But a team like Oakland and Tampa, they can dish out these big contracts. It's just they don't want to do it because then they're not going to be able to field a whole stacked lineup. You know what I'm saying? And like the owner keeps some of the money. The thing about the Steinbrenners, they don't keep much. Obviously, they keep some of the money. They're the owners of the team, but they don't keep a lot of the revenue. They invest it back into the team.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tampa Bay's front office and their position developers down there, they've ripped off the Pirates for the past 5 years, and they brought in.
I think everyone's ripped off the Pirates, though.
Oh yeah, but Tampa Bay's been had the most success with it, and that's just how they roll. I mean, they see these players, who are underperforming on these really shitty teams, and they trade for them, give them some bum who used to be good a few years ago, but lost control, does not have rotation at all on his curveball, Chris Archer. And I mean, it's just really, it's astounding to see, all these guys who turn their careers around because of the development that they've gotten and the training and coaching that they've gotten with Tampa Bay. It's really impressive to watch.
What do you think about your boy Jameson Taillon coming over to the Yankees? Teaming back up with Garrett Cole.
I mean, get him out of here. I mean, I like it. I'm glad he's leaving. And it's not that I don't like Taillon. It's just really, I think he should be able to go. He's very talented. He's just been hit with injuries a lot lately. And then magically this season, you'll see with New York, he's not going to have any injuries. He's going to perform very well. And he's going to be in the talks for a Cy Young at some point during the season. I guarantee it. Or he'll be if that rotation's stacked, he'll be great in the bullpen somewhere. I mean, that's the difference between these teams, these really good teams, and then these really piss poor bottom of the gutter teams. Absolutely. Like Pittsburgh.
Hey, Mike, what's the state of the Mets right now as a Mets fan? What are you thinking?
Oh, poor guy.
I think I think that the free agents that were out there, and this is an honest opinion. This is not like me being like salty about anything. I think Bauer's overpaid,
Yeah, I can agree with
100%.
that.
Okay.
I think that Springer wanted a lot. He's very good, but way too much money. And I think that's due to, the hype around him and all that stuff. I think that getting Lindor is going to make a very, very big difference. When I heard about that trade, I heard a lot of young names that the Mets got rid of, and it was honestly like, you hate to see them go, but you understand. Like Lindor's not old. He's not even in. I don't even think he's in his prime, to be honest, and he's
No,
already
he's not.
fantastic. And all the moves they made for the bullpen and the depth, I think they did good. I really wasn't too mad about the swinging and missing at Springer and Bauer, and they would have had to made a trade for Arenado, and now they're talking about trading for Chris Bryant. I mean,
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Chris Bryant is,
He had one great
he's
year.
not as he did.
I was just about to say that.
I don't trust Cup players. I
I
really don't.
I like JD Davis a lot. I don't see a need to like really rush into a deal to get rid of him, like to platoon him so much, like what they did with Nimmo. They just got the other guy from the Cubs for center field. Forget his name. I'm not in a rush to platoon these guys because they play really well. They played very well. But I wasn't too mad about the Bauer and Springer thing because I didn't really want either of those guys, if I'm being completely honest with you. $30 million, the guy got $100 million for 3 years.
Yeah.
Dodgers could have that because by the end of next season, they're going to wish they never gave him that contract.
When it came out the details of what Bauer was looking for in a contract, I was like, I would love the Yankees to have Trevor Bauer just to shore up the rotation, but for that price, fuck you, Bauer.
Yeah,
Like you had last year, which was a really good year for you, Cy Young year, and then you've kind of been like extremely hit or miss. Like you've been either extremely good or extremely bad. You go through these peaks and valleys. I mean, he shut the Yankees down in the playoffs in 2017, but they did blow that series. Well, I don't know. I don't think he's proven enough for a playoff. This is going to be good because the Dodgers are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be in the thick of things. It's going to be a good test for him to see if he can actually step up to the plate. And that was backtracking a little bit to how Garrett Cole was. With Pittsburgh, he wasn't going in the playoffs doing anything there. Then he went to Houston and he actually showed like, hey, I could produce in the playoffs. I could produce in the AL, NLCS. I could produce in the World Series. Give me my money.
Yeah. Michael.
Yeah. Yes.
Michael, I got a question, man. What do you see where Marisnick is going to the Cubs now?
Yes.
What did you think about Marisnick? I know it was like a short-term thing, but I really enjoyed him at Houston. I thought he's almost 30, by the way, next month.
I got to be honest with you, with the baseball's been like taken off with the off season, man. Like I've seen like off seasons that are, some moves happen, some big moves. You obviously have like the big name guys, but I feel like there's so many people on the move. It's like, it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable.
Kind of hard to keep up with.
It is.
It really
Scott
is.
Peterson,
Like every day you kind of log on and you're like, oh, this guy's moved now too, and they got this guy too, and I feel like Cubs are one team. I know the Cubs have been dealing a lot. They've been dealing a lot.
Arrieta might be going back to the Cubs too.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, bro, like there's a lot of moves going on.
Like you said, the Dodgers, they're never content, and I feel like that's why they'll always kind of be in the thick of things.
Yeah.
Even when they do so well, they're just going to keep getting better, and they have that money. But I think like you said, like those big money teams, like I don't know, man. I feel like you got to pick the right free agent. So what happens if now, like say Cohen signs all these guys, right? Like say he would have walked this off season and was like, oh, let me get we'll take Bauer, we'll even take Springer too, and he signs all those guys, and then a year from now you're like, yeah, they're all right, but $35 million a year, all right, $40 million a year, okay. And especially in as Jack would like to put it in New York, we're not very forgiving. So
No.
you could play in Houston, and Springer could bat. I don't know his average. He's probably high twos, right? 260
Mhm.
something.
Around there.
A bunch of home runs, a bunch of RBIs. You play bad for a month and see what happens in New York.
Yeah.
A month, dude. You play bad for a fucking series. You strike out in a 3-game series. You strike out 6 times. Jesus Christ! You better fucking watch yourself. You better test the brakes on your car while you're driving back to your apartment.
Or you could be like Giancarlo Stanton and hit 60 home runs and strike out 600
dude.
times.
Hey, Stan was going off last year. He stayed healthy, and I was like, man, and he produced in the playoffs too. And I was looking for that. I was really looking for him to do that.
I like Stanton.
I do
like
too.
Stanton. I think Stanton and Judge playing together and being like the same fucking person is one of the funniest things in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just really, sorry to interrupt. It's just really funny to see all these players who have past injury issues, and there's a bunch of them on their prior teams. And you look at these teams' records, and they're awful. And as it's just got to make you think, okay, are they just making these injuries up out of their ass? Like Stanton, like Garrett Cole, like Tyon. I don't know necessarily if it was Tyon, but Garrett Cole definitely did that too. And he was a piece of shit towards the tail end of his career in Pittsburgh. Now, I don't know what's going on in that clubhouse. It's just from a fan's view, that's what it looked like. And you could definitely tell that a lot of these players like Stanton, they want to get traded. He got a huge contract in Miami. Okay, so he got his money. But the team wasn't producing. And I remember whenever, I think it was the 2013 Marlins, that was the year that, they got the brand new stadium, I think, and they had D. Gordon, they had Hanley Ramirez, they
in
had
retrospect,
pieces.
that team was stacked, dude.
Yeah.
That team was
they were on
stacked.
every cover of every magazine.
Bro, Christian Yelich, D. Gordon,
Could
Jose
you imagine
Reyes.
could you imagine they held on to that team? They held on to half that team.
Dude.
Ozuna, Yelich.
Yeah, Marcel Ozuna.
Jose Fernandez, God rest his soul, but
rest in peace.
That's sad, man.
Justin Turner might be gone.
Yeah, Justin Turner might be hitting the bricks too for the Dodgers.
Oh, Jake Arrieta did sign back with the Cubs. $6 million.
It's official?
$6 million for 1 year.
Bro, the Cubs should have hit me up, offered me $50,000. I would have pitched for them this year.
Cubs farm system, I heard, was good though.
All right. So let's get back to the Dodgers here. That's the thing. I think that the Dodgers are going the same path that the early 2000s Yankees were going. So after the Yankees won the World Series in 2000, they lost in 2001. 2002, they didn't make the World Series. They lost to the Angels in the playoffs. 2003, they made it to the World Series, lost to the Marlins. 2004 was that, we're not going to talk about the ALCS that year, but they sacrificed all their money on these older free agents like Gary Sheffield, Jason Giambi, or they traded away the farm system for guys like Bobby Abreu, and they ruined their future. And that's why the early 2005 to about 2008 was a tough time for the Yankees. And it doesn't sound like a long time, but as a Yankee fan, I never seen these guys have a losing season. Never once had a losing season. I've seen them miss the playoffs that I can remember in my lifetime twice, just 2 times.
Damn.
So to see them be still in the playoff race, but they have no farm system at that time, that's the way that the Dodgers are going to go. And the Dodgers are going to go down a real dark path, and they're going to hit that wall where they're not going to be able to compete to that level on the field because these guys are going to be getting older, but they're not going to be able to call anybody up from the majors to replenish their team because they're trading all these guys away, or they're not going to have the money to retain these guys.
Who are they relying on? Bellinger?
Who, the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Well, they got Mookie Betts. They traded.
But Mooks, man.
They got Mookie, now, Bellinger, not Justin Turner anymore, but
I was just gonna say that there's a few free agents left that are really. I wouldn't say like franchise altering, but they're very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got like diamonds in the rough, like DJ LeMahieu type of free agents.
Oh yeah, he's
I love that guy. I don't know why anybody would ever say a bad thing about him. The kid's a beast.
I was so happy when the Yankees signed him over Manny Machado.
That was the best move.
Oh my God.
In years.
Manny Machado, he's good.
Nobody gives him credit for that either.
Nah, he's good, but I'd rather have DJ LeMahieu, to be honest with you.
Baggage comes with Machado, I feel like.
Oh, so much.
Oh, a lot of baggage. He's a drama queen.
He is.
Dude's getting in a fist fight on the field like every 50 games, if that.
Fucking Yordando Ventura, him and that they threw down on the pitcher's mound.
Oh, yeah, man.
Little Yordando Ventura throwing down with
Dude.
big ass Manny Machado. He ain't scared. He was never scared of anybody. I like Yordando Ventura. I got two things to add to that. One's a statement, one's a question. Number one, there's an even worse blown call. It's the Armando Galarraga no hitter by Jim
Absolutely.
Joyce.
Absolutely.
Clearly out. You know, that's number one. Number two, the question. I'd like to get all your guys' take on this one. Could you see baseball move into an electronic strike zone in the future, or do you think they stay with the human factor of it and the human element of people messing up?
I think they stay in with the human factor. I think it would be great for the sport, especially right now. For you have an electronic strike zone. I just can't see him doing it. I think it takes away from the love of the game that a lot of old timers would have.
Yeah.
And, we don't really, in the MLB's views and in their eyes, it's just going to be, it's what makes the game exciting. It's what gets them more views. If there is a blown call, something like that, it's what gets them a lot of more money and a lot more views on these games. So I don't think they have a problem with it. It's a great idea. I'd be all for it, do a test run. A perfect time to do it would have been this last, what was it, a 62 game season we had?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a perfect time to do it. I mean, but I just don't think it would work out right now just with the MLB's standpoint on things.
Yeah, this kind of would have been the year to try all the weird stuff. But Miles, what do you think?
Well, you can't really rule anything out. I think maybe over time, I don't know, maybe 50 years from now, probably. Maybe it probably would happen, but I don't want to see it happen. It's that factor of if it's a close call, man, what's the call going to be? What's he going to call? And it either goes your way or it doesn't. It takes away from that unpredictability. I hope it doesn't happen. I know we rag on the umps, man. They got a tough job.
Absolutely.
They got a tough job, but it's their job.
Mm-hmm.
That's my outlook on it, man. Technology is gonna develop, and over time, I can see it happening, but I can also see it not happening. That's a tough question.
Mike, what do you think?
I actually used to umpire a little bit for a while after high school.
Oh yeah.
It is tough, man. You don't really realize. So you obviously have different jobs. The plate umpire has different responsibilities than the field ump. You know how that goes, but you don't realize how much goes into it until you actually see it. So you're supposed to move and to get the best point of view on certain slides and certain swipes and I'm not saying by any means that it's okay to always fuck up, but when these guys do, and we're all sitting on a couch watching it from 17 different camera angles.
Yep.
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the challenge, but it kind of makes sense because of calls like the Galarraga call and like Jack mentioned, that call. It makes sense to have a challenge or two just to make sure that the game isn't getting completely thrown out of whack.
Right.
But I could also tell you if there's a pitcher that's tired. Now imagine this: you've pitched 7 innings. You've thrown about 120 pitches. You're throwing a no hitter or even a 1-hit shutout. It doesn't happen in sports or baseball anymore. But let's say that coach is like, "Fuck it, keep him in there," and you keep striking guys out, and that guy behind the plate's ripping strike 3 calls. It amps you up, dude. It keeps you going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck wants to see a sign from a robot that says strike?
Yeah, I don't want to see that
ball.
shit.
Nobody wants to see it.
Yeah.
You want to see a big burly dude behind the plate ripping chainsaw strike 3 calls. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And at first or third, that bang bang play where somebody in the outfield guns it from the warning track and it bounces one bounce right to the glove, smacks him down, and that guy bangs him out. You know what I mean? That stuff is awesome. That's baseball, dude. That's
umpire getting the fucking running start before he punches you out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all love that shit, dude. So hell no, fuck robots. Let the fucking humans do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree. I
and
agree with all you guys.
see, I really like how they're doing the calls and all that, or the challenges. I think that was great for the game.
I agree with that.
Just because the no hitter in Detroit that was broken up. I mean that the challenge needed to be, and that was one of the things that started discussions about the challenge calls. And see, I think that was perfect for the game. But like Mike, like what you're saying with, and this is where I brought up, it's like you would have a lot of people who are huge baseball fans who do get amped up from all that stuff.
Mhm.
And people, we got to forget, man, technology is far from perfect right now, far from perfect. So let's say there's not a glitch on this electronic, like, do you really think I would trust ESPN's? I don't trust ESPN's strike zone whenever it's just shown up there the whole game with like,
Yeah.
I don't trust it. And I don't know. It's just really interesting. It's going to be really, of course, we can't really see the discussions because those MLB and MLBPA meetings, they're so disclosed. Like it's some, I don't know, like the world depends on this. I don't know why we can't see some
Watergate.
sort of discussion. Yeah, like something dramatic is about to happen. Some world shattering shit. But no, I agree with you, Mike. That's a really good standpoint on it too.
I gotta say, like, if you watch baseball, and we can get away from this point soon. I just want to make this point. If you're watching a game and you're watching a pitcher who has like a sick 12-6 drop curve or like a nasty slider. Let's take who's got some sick shit?
Kershaw.
Let's say Kershaw's
Oh.
curveball, right?
Yeah.
Insane.
So
Verlander.
ESPN is tracking where that ball smacks into the glove of that catcher. And all of us baseball fans know that is not where they're judging a strike call.
No.
If you're standing behind the plate, you're seeing where that ball hits that home plate. And if it hits that home plate and then curves back out of the box, it's not a ball. It's a strike.
Yeah.
It ended up out there.
It crossed the plate.
Crossed the plate.
Mhm.
And that's why I watch these and I'm like, it says ball, and you have these guys throwing these nasty pitches that they've worked their whole lives for, and you're calling it a ball because it's where don't show that shit. It doesn't even work. The
Yeah.
strike
And
zone
then-
doesn't even work.
And another, just to add on, another good point is that not only does that take away from the pitcher skill set, that takes away from the catcher what he's been developed to do from
Frame
since he was
that
a little
pitch.
kid.
Yep.
Frame those pitches, man. That's beautiful. I think that's almost as beautiful as a nasty 12-6 curve in its placement. Just the framing of the pitches is just so. It's really nice to watch. Of course, if you're on the other end of that, and it's kind of like, okay,
Like,
fuck
fuck
this
you,
piece
bro.
of shit,
Yeah.
man. Fuck. Stop trying to bail out your boy. But if it's for your team, it's like, man, that's beautiful, beautiful fucking work.
Adam, your boy made a whole career off of that. Solid
one?
hitter, but a framing machine. Jorge Posada.
Oh yeah. Hip
Oh.
Jorge.
Guy was an animal.
Yeah.
He would pull a ball out of the dirt and make it look like a
Mhm.
strike three.
Yeah, bro. Jorge Posada, he had it going on, man. Switch hitting catcher. He hit around 250, 260 a year. But as a catcher, you mean you don't really. How many catchers are great hitters? Other than like Buster Posey. Well, more so nowadays.
Well,
You got
you see it now. I know what you mean, though. Back then, you didn't
in the
see it.
90s.
Your
and early
catcher was
2000s,
supposed to hit like 240, 250.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be big and burly and slow, just block the fuck out of a ball. And that was Jorge Posada, man. But now you
all
got
16 Molina brothers that are catchers.
Yeah. In this thing the other day, a comparison between Tom Brady and Serena Williams and comparing them and their greatness amongst each other. Do you guys think that's fair to be comparing players of different sports to each other? So before you guys answer, let's just take those two, right? Serena Williams plays tennis. If for those of you who don't know and been living under a rock, she plays tennis. One of the greatest tennis players to ever live. But in tennis, you have 4 opportunities to win a major a year. Whereas the NFL, you have 1 opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Tennis is an individual sport. Football is a team sport. I don't think that's a fair comparison.
Who do you want up?
Whoever. Miles, you.
Yo. When I saw that comparison come across my Facebook, I really thought it had to have been like satire or something.
I think so.
So, and then I went online and I found this friggin' article, okay? on this stupid website called Refinery 29. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like an entertainment outlet. I don't know. It's real hipsterish. Can't get with it. But essentially, it's saying that we are being close-minded in saying that Tom Brady is the GOAT. Listen, there are different GOATs for different sports. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is Serena Williams the GOAT of tennis? Sure. I don't know. Roger Federer could probably be in that conversation. Rafael Nadal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gives a shit. It's tennis.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a true statement right there.
To compare anyone in tennis to being a GOAT in sports. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a tennis enthusiast. I played tennis in middle school and PE for like 2 weeks. That's
You
my
went to a fancy school, huh?
tennis.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You got to be in good shape. I'm not
While we were doing the fucking pacer test in New York, you were playing tennis.
well, no. I was hitting the ball as hard as I could at the net. I don't know. That's probably the most entertaining part is hearing them moan. But it's got to be when they put this stuff up into the internet. They got to be ready for this. You can say whatever you want, right? If that's your opinion, then that's your opinion. But get ready for some backlash.
Yeah, there's always going to be backlash.
You're saying, Miles, you're pretty much saying that these people are trolls. That's what you're saying.
In essence, dog, dude, Michael, I swear, I thought it was a joke. These people are trying to get a ruse.
It is a joke. It is a
It's
joke.
got to be. But
you want to put up a comparison between sports. That's fine.
Yeah.
In terms of greatness. So like, if you don't put up any stats and you're like, Serena Williams and Tom Brady are both the GOATs. I mean, I don't know why you would have to tell us that, but we already know who the best female tennis player is.
Yeah.
Like, why would you have to tell us that? You don't have to put up a thing that says anybody is the greatest of all time because we know who the greatest of all times are. And it's our opinion. It's not a fact. You could say whoever you want. To Adam, the greatest football player of all time, maybe fucking Brian Dawkins. We all know that's not true, but he could be. to Adam, he could be, you know? It's not, it's for him to debate that. And that's what's so great about that is because you could put up, you want to put up Joe Montana and Tom Brady stats. I'll say, okay, Tom Brady never had fucking Jerry Rice, but that's besides the point.
Okay. Let's ease into this one. Let's ease into that.
That's all I'm saying. So you could compare, you could say there's GOATs of different sports, exactly what Miles said. You can't put up stats. What you want to put up Tiger Woods majors against like Barry Bonds or Ted Williams? Like how do you do that?
Yeah.
How are we doing this?
You can't do it. There's got to be a line, dog. There's got to be a line in the sand. Be like, all right, hey, there's GOATs in every sport. You can't compare two sports. You just can't fucking do it, man.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
I think number one, the term GOAT is subjective to the time period where you grew up and who you grew up watching.
100%.
You know, because my GOAT, like, let's say Tom Brady, I consider him the GOAT quarterback, right? But the GOAT quarterback for my dad might be Dan Marino, you know? The GOAT quarterback for his dad, I don't know who the fuck was playing back then, but, you know, it might be that guy. You know, baseball, my grandfather probably thought Babe Ruth was the greatest baseball player to ever live. But then you got guys like Mike Trout that are 1,000 times the athlete that those guys were back then. That's the GOAT of baseball in our era. And you know, it's subjective. That's number one. Number two, I think a better comparison, if you're going to compare players from different sports, not their results, because obviously they speak for themselves, but more so their influence on the game.
Yeah.
That should be more of a better comparison between comparing a golf player like Tiger Woods to a basketball player like Kobe Bryant. You know, like they're both great. They're both considered GOATs, but you can't measure their greatness to each other because they do two completely different things. It's like comparing a carpenter and a welder. You know, they both get the job done, but one works on wood, one works on metal.